If you've been wondering how to make your Botox last longer, then this is the video for you to stay tuned in. We're going to talk about those things, and they're actually really super simple. So really just on point. Let's bring them up right away, and then let's get into the details. Number one, get enough units. And number two, follow your aftercare instructions. Those are the two critical pieces. And then we can talk about some of maybe the other things you've heard in, I don't know, just life, media, or you've heard other people talk about on social media. So let's get into it. Who am I? I'm Dr. Lynn Neiman. I'm a board-certified anesthesiologist and aesthetic medical provider at Blossom Medical in Northern Virginia. I've owned and operated Blossom Medical for over 4 years and have done tens of thousands of Botox treatments. So I am excited to share this news or this information with you today so that you can really protect your investment that you're making in your Botox treatments and maybe have some questions answered. So if this content is something that you find useful, absolutely, I'd love it if you would like and follow down below. Let's talk about number of units. I can tell you that one of the most important things about a treatment lasting the longest that it can is that dose equals duration. I'll say that again, everybody in the room. Dose equals duration. There is just a certain amount of units that it takes to treat a muscle group and to have that muscle group be treated for a length of time. So for example, let's talk about 11 lines. So we refer to this muscle group as your glabellar complex, and it's made up of 5 muscles. There's one in the middle called the procerus. There is a corrugator supercilii and a depressor supercilii that's kind of right underneath that. Those muscles act together to pull the eyebrows down and in, and they're pretty strong. In some people, they're even stronger than in others. So that muscle group has a certain amount of strength to it, and then you'll have your individual differences that will make that muscle group maybe even a little bit stronger. Typically, on-label dosing, Botox units is 20 units for that area. If you treat that area with 12 units or 14 units, will you get a result? Yes, you will. Will that result last 3 or 3.5 months with your Botox treatment? Probably not, because it's not enough units to give you that longevity and that duration. So in any Botox treatment, we want your treatment and your investment to last as long as possible. And so typically there's just a certain number of units we're going to recommend in order to get that treatment to last as long as possible. So underdosing your Botox treatment is not a strategy to make your treatment last as long as possible. Using proper dosing is a strategy to have that treatment last as long as possible. So talk to your providers about proper dosing and just understand that there is a recommended dose per area that's going to get you your results and get them to last a long enough time that you're going to be really satisfied with your results. Typically with Botox, it's going to last from 12 to 14 weeks. With Dysport, 14 to 16 weeks. With Daxxify, that's a little bit more complicated. Usually 4 to 5 months is what I see in clinical practice. With Xeomin, about 3 months, and with Jeuveau, 3 to 4 months, depending on the dosing that you're using there. That's typical as long as you're using on-label dosing. As long as you're providing enough units, you will shorten the duration with your Botox if you don't use enough units. So talk to your provider, have them talk to you about the number of units they recommend. And if it's in your budget to do 2 complete treatments a year and do on-label dosing or what your provider is recommending, that would be more to your benefit than skimping by with less amounts on trying to get every 2 to 3 months with fewer units. Over time, that is not a great strategy. So just use enough units to get the treatment that you deserve to get for your treatment, for your overall Botox treatment. The other thing is that it's really mission critical to follow your aftercare. What do I mean by that? When patients leave my practice, I will often give them just a list of aftercare instructions, including I want them to stay upright for a little bit of time, mostly so that Botox doesn't move around to any other muscle groups. I ask my patients not to rub any of the areas that we've treated because we've carefully mapped where that Botox was placed, and I don't want it to move from exactly where it was precision injected to any of the other muscle groups or spread beyond where I intended for that Botox treatment to spread. And then I often give my patients instructions for exercise. So, exercise, being in a sauna, hot tub, a really hot environment, those sorts of things. Your Botox provider may have said those to you in the past. Here is the thing. If you do things that increase your circulation, so things like strenuous exercise, maybe going and sitting in a sauna or a hot tub, or going out from your Botox treatment and maybe sitting on the pool side in summertime with your kids and family, um, those are not a good idea. Here's the reason why. When we inject Botox, it's going to take a certain amount of time for the nerve cell where the Botox does its job to take that Botox up inside the cell where it actually is going to work. For a period of time, that Botox is going to hang around the outside of that nerve cell before it's invited in. While it's in that process of hanging out outside of the nerve cell, if you increase your circulation, there is a chance that you could, by the blood flow that's happening on the outside of the nerve cell, wash that active Botox right out of the place where you want it to do its action. So if you do something that's going to raise your blood pressure and increase your circulation, whether or not that's being near a poolside, when you're outside in the heat, you're going to vasodilate a little bit, you're going to increase your circulation. You could wash that Botox out before it has a chance to do its full effect. You can do that if you're sitting in a sauna, hot tub. You can do that if you're exercising and doing something kind of high intensity that's going to raise your blood pressure. That circulation increases, you might have faster washout of that Botox. And if you wash that Botox out of that space before it has a chance to get into the nerve cell and do its job, then you are just going to reduce the efficacy of your Botox treatment and probably reduce the duration of action of your Botox treatment. So those are the two critical things. Get enough units, and then also make sure that you are not doing things that are going to increase your circulation. So follow those post-care instructions. That is going to help you have the best and most prolonged action of your Botox treatment. There is some thought out there that zinc is definitely something that can help prolong the action of your Botox treatment. And back in 2012, 2013, there was a study that came forward looking at dietary zinc supplementation. And the amount of zinc supplementation was 50 milligrams. And that seemed to, in the study, the way that they did the study, there was evidence that it increased the Botox treatment duration of action. That was back in 2012, 2013. There have been other analyses since then, one most recently in 2023, that actually looked more carefully at the study methodology and retrospectively went back. It's called a meta-analysis, where their study is actually looking at previous research and analyzing that previous research. And this 2023 meta-analysis looked at the study methodology and also the strength of the conclusions drawn by the previous studies. And I can say that the evidence is actually pretty equivocal in terms of, will zinc actually prolong the effectiveness of your Botox treatments? The answer is, I don't know, really truly, because the evidence that we have from our scientific literature is not the strongest evidence. So will zinc supplementation help prolong your Botox treatment? The answer, by scientific papers, I don't know. Will it harm you? Chances are very low that any zinc supplementation would cause any harm. If that's something you and your provider discuss and that's something you want to try, I don't think there's harm in that, but I don't necessarily think that there's good scientific evidence that really supports the use of zinc actually seeing a causal effect in prolonging the duration of action of your Botox treatment. So I'm very plus minus about that. I never really recommend it to my patients. I think that the stronger things that you can do are get the proper unit dosing for your treatment and then also just follow your aftercare instructions. I hope that was helpful for you. And I hope that if you desire or choose to have a Botox treatment, that those little pieces of information can help you really love the treatment that you're getting and help you make great decisions and really just enjoy the process of treating yourself and doing that kind of care that really helps you feel and look confident as you go through life. Again, I'm Dr. Neiman, and I hope that this content was helpful for you. I'd love it if you would give me a little like below and let me know that this content is absolutely something you enjoy watching and find value in. And if you have any friends that you think might really benefit from this kind of information, you can always share this with them, and I would be really grateful if you did that. I hope that you really think this content is educational and it helps you make good choices going forward and helps you to feel empowered about any aesthetic treatments that you choose to undertake. I hope that you have a great day, and I'll look forward to seeing you next time.